Probably the most memorable Good Friday liturgy I ever experienced was a little more than 10 years ago, in 2005, when I was blessed to be on sabbatical in Rome and participated in the Good Friday service at St. Peter's Basilica. Now, if you've ever been there yourself, or if you've ever seen pictures or videos of that majestic basilica, I invite you to try to visualize in your mind's eye what I'll try to describe to you there. St. Peter's is the largest church building in the world, built over the remains of St. Peter, who was martyred on the Vatican Hill during the persecution of Christians under the Roman Emperor Nero. And Peter's martyrdom is indicated, in fact, at the end of St. John's Gospel that we just heard, when it speaks about Peter's being led where he does not want to go. And then the Gospel goes on to say that this signifies Peter's death that would glorify God. St. Peter was urged at the end of that Gospel reading to follow Jesus. Follow me, Christ says. Well, Peter would follow Christ certainly as Christ's disciple in life, but he would follow Christ even unto death, dying like Christ on a cross, but in Peter's case, upside down, as tradition tells us. But getting back to St. Peter's Basilica, it's a magnificent, majestic building with exquisite artwork, exceptional architecture. And all around the inside of the huge dome or cupola of St. Peter's and throughout the rest of the building, just below the ceiling, there are in Latin and Greek a number of quotations from the Gospels containing the great words spoken by St. Peter to Jesus and by Jesus to St. Peter. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. Lord, you know that I love you. Feed my sheep. Now picture being inside this awesome building built on the top of the grave of St. Peter with all those glorious words spoken to and from Jesus and St. Peter all around you. And then at this Good Friday service, you're listening to the account of Jesus' trial, his suffering, and his death from St. John's Gospel. And suddenly you hear Peter accused of being a follower of Jesus. And what does he do? Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Peter denies ever knowing Jesus. Out of fear and shame, Peter denies him, says he doesn't even know him. So here you are in the largest church building in the world, dedicated to St. Peter, a building so majestic and glorious, and yet at that moment on Good Friday, you're confronted with the fact that Peter committed a terrible sin, the sin of denying, of turning his back on Jesus. You're confronted with the fact that the one whom Jesus called rock, that's what Peter means in Greek, that rock crumbled to pieces when he was put on the spot. You're confronted with the fact that we followers of Jesus are weak human beings, susceptible to sin, even serious sin, with Simon Peter as an early and notorious example. But then you look beyond that main altar of St. Peter's as far as you can see. And what do you notice there? A large oval window depicting a large dove, representing, of course, the Holy Spirit. Then you start to let the reality sink in. The reason why Simon Peter could become St. Peter, even after his terrible sin of denying Christ, the reason why the church, of which he is the rock, the reason why that church has survived and even thrived these past 2,000 years, in spite of the sins and scandals committed by its members and its leaders, the reason why all of this can survive and thrive is because of the Holy Spirit, the third person of the Holy Trinity, that Spirit who is involved, active, leading, guiding, strengthening, forgiving. A good reminder, really, for all of us as we prepare to celebrate the Feast of Pentecost, the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, in just 2 days' time. How desperately all of us need the grace and the help of the Holy Spirit to sustain and carry us through the ups and downs of life. Peter knew very well that he was far from perfect. And so on a morning shortly after Christ's resurrection, when the Lord appeared to Simon Peter and the other disciples, the Lord gave Peter an opportunity to profess 3 times his love for him, in a certain sense to make up for the 3 times that Peter had denied knowing Jesus. Peter would spend the rest of his life showing how much indeed he truly loved the Lord by tending Christ's flock, by caring for Christ's sheep, by leading, guiding, governing, loving even unto death the people of God we call the church. A wonderful gospel text, this 21st chapter of St. John's Gospel, especially as tomorrow here in Boston and in other dioceses too, we'll celebrate the ordination of new priests to serve God's flock, God's beloved people. Those who will be ordained tomorrow have, like St. Peter, come to see that the best way they can show their love for Christ is by feeding Christ's flock, serving the people to whom they'll be sent, serving them in love for the rest of their lives in ordained ministry. So I ask you to have 2 intentions in your prayer this day. First of all, pray that all of us may be open to the amazing and wondrous power of the Holy Spirit as we celebrate Pentecost this coming Sunday. But please also pray for those soon to be ordained priests, that they may be faithful in serving that portion of God's flock to whom they'll be sent, and do so with a heart full of love that beats in tune with the sacred heart of Christ, our Good Shepherd.